I like to walk through Sephora, and I know some brands take you to Brazil and some brands take you to Japan and some conjuring Italy. And I was asked, where do you want to take people? I want to take them home to them.
Welcome back to the Active Ingredient Podcast. This week's episode is jam-packed with so much insight and wisdom for anyone who's looking to build a solid business and or relationship or relationships that are deeply rooted in truth and integrity, and that you're in it for the long haul. I have Kate Mcleod on the show today, the founder and master formulator of her namesake bodycare brand, Kate Mcleod, that is sold at Sephora, Nordstrom, and Goop, among several other retailers, and to date has sold over 1 million of their hero product, the Body Stone, which I can personally attest to it being absolutely delicious, and I 1000% understand why they've sold 1 million of them. We talked about it on the show, but it really is more than a body lotion. The act of how you use this stone and massage it into the skin is something more than just another beauty product. Kate has lived many lives. She worked on Wall Street, she trained as a yoga teacher, went to culinary school in Italy, and she opened a bakery in London where she worked as a pastry chef. All of those past lives have set her up to be the perfect person to do exactly what she's doing now with Kate Mcleod. And seeing how all of these different skill sets and experiences and places all came together to really set her up for success, to be able to build a company at the scale and level that Kate Mcleod has been able to reach is not lost on me. It makes so much sense, but you really only see these things in hindsight. So we definitely get into all of her past lives, and it's very clear to me that her outer brand is a mirror of her inner instinct and journey. The main takeaway for me from this conversation was this: staying connected to what genuinely feels true to you, whether that's the ingredients like it was for her, the pace at which you're doing it, the way that you're building, who you're building with, how you're talking about it, how you're amplifying it, all of it. That's what's actually driving the growth. It's not what's slowing it down. These are really my favorite conversations. I'm so grateful for Kate, my fellow Cancer. Of course, we dove right in, first minute, already going there. And I hope that you enjoy. And thank you so much, Kate, for coming on.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
You're so welcome. You ready?
Yeah. How long have you been doing this podcast?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years, which
Wow.
is wild.
I'm very limited on podcasts. I don't listen to that many.
What do you listen to?
A lot of self-help books
Okay.
on relationship.
Which ones are you listening to right now?
Probably the best one I've ever listened to, which I would not have been ready to receive like even a couple years ago.
So real.
Have you ever stumbled upon a couple, Gay and Kate Hendricks?
I interviewed Gay Hendricks on the show in his home.
No, you didn't.
You're reading Conscious Living?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Gay is he's actually my number one author ever. That was like one of the highlights of my life, was having him on the show. That is my number one favorite podcast episode I've ever done. I literally went to their home in Ojai.
I'm jaw dropped.
No, so then my second favorite author of all time is Brianna Wiest, who I'm sure you haven't heard. Oh, girl, you're in for an amazing ride.
Okay.
But all of her work is influenced by Gay's work.
So I've worked with several people who are massively influenced by Gay, and another woman named Pia Melody.
I don't know her.
Pia is Terry Real's major source of inspiration, and then a lot of them refer back to the Hendricks as well.
He's a real one. He was like, okay, well, while you're setting up, I'm going to keep writing. Still creating the most creative house you've ever seen. Like, crazy.
Wow. You interviewed Gay Hendricks.
Yeah.
You are the first person
to know who Gay Hendricks is?
Honestly, I've mentioned the book now to so many.
It's the most potent
people.
book on relationships.
Yeah.
So many things.
It's so many things. Sorry.
So don't apologize. I want to kick off with that of just like, what are you currently moving through? You don't have to go into every detail, but I just do think, and right now it's interesting, a lot of people that I'm having on the podcast are moving through similar things because I think that we collectively move through similar things. A lot of people are dealing with visibility.
Visibility.
Wounds. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that tracks for you, but I just wanted to give you context on like,
can you say more?
Yeah, like
what
people wanting to step into more of showing their real selves. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And yeah, in different arenas and different characters, I'm seeing that come through more and more of like, I don't want to hide anymore. I feel like I've been hiding, even if they present as someone that's public, they feel like they're hiding still.
Yeah. And when you withhold and you live behind a wall, it's really lonely.
Mm-hmm.
What more resonates with me is in my personal life, moving through a period, super grateful, lots of ups and downs as every relationship I think goes. But we are so blessed that both of us want to keep showing up and doing the work. I actually, it's my husband who was like, you have to listen to Conscious Loving. And he was on me for like 3 months.
How did he find it? How did he find it?
Someone he's working with, and he was obsessed. He was like, you have to listen to this. He was like begging me to listen to it. And I, who was kind of after like a 10-year journey of therapy, it was kind of like self-helped out, wasn't picking it up. And then I picked it up. I'm like, oh, this is really the only text that you need. But it
really is the only text that you need.
It really is.
Like, period. Because you apply it to everything.
It just cuts through everything. Mm-hmm. But so I think I'm in this new experiment in my life where I'm taking one of the ideas out of this text and trying it on for size, which is you have 100% responsibility for your current reality. And both partners in a relationship, and this can be a romantic relationship, this can be a business relationship, it's any relationship, you're both 100% responsible for what's happening. And this is an idea. We know someone who trained with Gay Hendricks for many years, and she brought into our life like 2 or 3 years ago. It's taken me actually years, I think, to fully, not just intellectually, but like somatically embrace and be like, yes, I see that's true. Mm-hmm. And then just stepping back and being like, whoa, okay. Just looking at life very differently. What am I doing here? What is my vision? Where do I want to go? And when you started with visibility, the thing that came into my mind when you said like, people wanting to show themselves, for me, it's like I'm finally getting a really clear idea of who I am when I'm being my highest self.
Who is she?
Vulnerable. Firm, but soft. I think vulnerability is the big thing, and wanting to step into that. And I think that's like going to define the next part of my personal journey.
What environments allow you to do that or to be that?
Wow, we've gone like right to it.
That's how it goes. If we start with Gay Hendricks, this is the only way.
That's true. Okay.
It's the only direction.
Okay, no, I can answer my real answer here. What environments? Safe ones. Mm-hmm. And so I tend to lean anxious. If I reduce it down to like just the simplest terms of kind of like an anxious avoidant trap, I occupy the anxious seat and my husband occupied the avoidant. And I'm also just so over competing for who's the bigger victim. And so is he. He was actually the one who was like, that's it, I'm done. And I'm like, you're
so liberating.
It's so liberating. Yeah. I was talking to a girlfriend the other day and she was like, pull out the root. She was like, it sounds like you're pulling out the root of victim consciousness. And I was like, I just loved how she said that.
I just had a physical response to that. And it's also terrifying to step into the power of it, because it's like you always have to ask, well, why? It's serving a purpose, like if you're choosing victimhood, it's serving some sort of role. It's not for nothing.
Well, right. I think you're serving, at least in my case, it's serving an unconscious commitment that I've had to keep this dynamic going. And it grew, I'm assuming, out of childhood as a defense mechanism, as a way of protecting, and it worked. And then or as a means of protection, and then it worked. And then years later, it becomes this defense mechanism. And I recently stumbled upon a quote that just it was like a gut punch. And it was like the exquisite pain and beauty of realizing that your personality is just an amalgamation of your defense mechanisms.
Oh.
And then breaking through that to like, okay, but who am I actually?
Right. And a lot of people don't do that because that is terrifying. For all the things that you say, I am X, to then live in a space of question mark, you know? Like I feel like a lot of people are terrified of that. I'm curious with the relationship dynamic too, because there's a lot of conversation of you have to love yourself before being in the right forever relationship. And I'm curious for people that grow long-term together. I'm in awe that your husband's bringing conscious loving to the table. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, it's obviously possible to grow with someone that you're on different pages. Because I could have an inner narrative sometimes of, not could, I definitely have an inner narrative of, I want to be met. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I was just talking about this with someone this morning,
right,
who's also in a very long-term relationship. And just to give context, my husband and I have been on and off for 23 years.
yeah.
So we met when I was 18, and we've been very on for the past, decade and a half now, but there were some breaks. I think, at least it's my experience, we're learning to do both simultaneously. So fully love and embrace yourself and grow into these versions of ourselves, our highest selves, that then the other looks at and is like, yes, like, wow, I feel met. You have like, and it's through all of that love that you kind of call.
So what do you
someone
need in
in.
order for that to be the case? Because I feel like that to me feels like it has to be both people with that same level of commitment.
100%.
And that the choice to do the inner work is you're not doing it to keep the other person. You're doing it because you want to do it.
100%.
And so you feel that way. Like you feel safe for you to not be on the exact same pages, but like, I'm going to go explore here, you explore here. But like, we're ultimately going to be meeting each other.
Yeah.
Like
I think
you have a like, you know.
I do.
Wow. Okay. Cool. How do
But
you know?
I also think, like, if we just back up a second, I don't know. This is just from my experience. So like, I'm sure this isn't going to resonate with some people, but I don't know that if I hadn't gone through so much of the power struggles, so much of like all my stuff getting triggered and coming up and coming out over the past decade, I don't think I could actually fully meet myself and love myself as I'm doing today. That's why I think it's everything's so interconnected. Like the journey was so much of the journey was everything getting me to this point. But to answer your question about what I think it needs, I think a commitment, because you have to know that two people are in, and curiosity. And curiosity is a practice for me. I wouldn't say I'm not naturally curious, but I'd say that I am constantly learning to come from a place of love and not a place of fear.
What does that look like in practice for someone listening? That's like, how can I adopt that?
In practice, if I'm coming from a place of fear, I'm watching, what story, what narrative do I have going on in my head right now? What self-defeating, limiting narrative about someone else. Honestly, you can just simplify it down to be giving someone the benefit of the doubt, or actually sharing your feelings with a person.
Like your experience.
And
like
your
I
experience.
am feeling this and I have no
then-
idea if this is real.
Exactly. Like, you know what? I'm feeling a little bit contracted right now. The story I'm making up in my mind about what's going on here is this.
I tried that on for the first time in a super long-term friendship that I had. And I was pretty much shaking saying it. I was like, I have to do this for my own self and for my own growth, but I'm going to tell you how I feel. And I know that you're not coming. Like I came with like so many buffers before.
Yeah.
But whatever. The first time that you do something like that, that's so vulnerable and it's so scary. But
It's a muscle.
I literally felt so good after, because I was like, I said something that I had been carrying for so long, and I had made this narrative in my mind. I had a little bit of that space to be like, I think this is a narrative. And then I said it to her in that way that I was like, I am experiencing like this. were so much tighter. And like
I was going to ask, and I'm assuming that
She
led
said,
to a
"Thank you
lot
for
more
telling me."
intimacy and
Yeah.
vulnerability and a deeper friendship.
Yes.
And
she's not
yes.
even one of my friends that loves to go that deep. You know what I mean? She was just like, oh my God, next time.
imagine
Yeah,
that
she
with
was
you.
like, next time, tell me what?
I can't imagine that with you. All your friends, like you just go right in.
No, I mean,
So-
this is like one of my like, of course, like every single person that I'm close with, they're very, very amazing human, spiritual people. But some people don't maybe have the lingo of it, but their souls are there. You know, her soul's definitely there. But it's like, oh my God, she said, don't ever hold it for that long again. What the hell? Say it sooner because I don't want you to hold that inside. Say it. It had nothing to do with she saw it.
Right. And isn't that
Liberating.
wild and crazy? And you feel like, whoa.
But I felt so
you
safe.
Really don't see. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I do think safety is really, really important. I think just a safe environment. Our very first, one of the very first energy workers, coaches, not a therapist, but like a coach I ever worked with, we came up with this saying, we called it shit popcorn when an environment doesn't feel safe. And it really stuck because it's really effective. Like he'd be like, you're eating popcorn. If you're eating popcorn from a tub, and then every once in a while you get a piece in your mouth with poop on it.
Oh my God, what?
Literally shit popcorn. He was like, you're not going to want to keep eating from that tub of popcorn, right? He's like, same deal in a relationship. If you're coming and trying to stay revealed and saying like, hey, these are my desires, these are my feelings, it's shamed, which I'm definitely guilty of doing.
I know.
Or it's met with not owning your own feelings, but then like putting your feelings on the other person and making them responsible for your nervous system. Right? Because I do that too.
I'm like, I know someone that does that.
It's not going to feel safe for the other person. And then they're not going to want to come forward. They're not going to want to reveal more. Their withholding is going to make it feel really unsafe for you. It feels like there's walls built up. And so this is why I think, to go back to where we started, Conscious Loving, Gay Hendricks' book.
It's like the takeaway of this episode is literally read Conscious Loving.
So amazing because what it does is it cuts through all of that. And it's just like, okay, can we really own what's going on here and not hop on the drama triangle, right? It's actually like own your truth, own your experience.
And share it.
And share it. And share it in a way where it's like, this is...
But that falls, by the way, into that like being seen category. That's in that umbrella, for sure. Okay, I'm curious because I feel like you've had 1,000 lives. Like I feel, do you feel that way? Do you feel like you've had 1,000 lives?
Okay, so yes. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated college. I don't know that many people do.
One of the reasons why this show exists is because the number one question I ask everyone on this podcast is, what were you like as a kid that you remember? Because a lot of the times there's elements of the things that you played when you were little, you kind of return to. And I literally started this podcast because I did not know what mine was. And in asking people that question of how did you return? How did you return? I started to ask myself that question. What did you play? What did you like? How did you return? But it's like the big existential crisis for me happened in college because I did not know what I was going to do after graduation day, you know? And it's like this process of returning to your original essence. And so I'm curious for you, like, first, what were those things for you? And then when you didn't know what you wanted to do, like, what was your process to arriving here? So much there.
I'm like, okay. I had a lot of anxiety as a child, a lot of anxiety, like handicapping levels. Truly, I have 2 young children now, and I've never witnessed in the past 6 years of bringing them to schools and things like that, a child who had the level of separation anxiety specifically that I had. And it lasted for most of my childhood.
Was there anything that you played when you were little that you felt free in or that you escaped?
I was just going to go there. The 2 things, and they're still very much in my life, is I loved to just put on music and dance. I'm an only child. And so I had the whole family room to myself, and I would shut the door for privacy, and I would just dance. Have you ever been to Five Rhythms?
No. What's that?
I can't believe you don't know. Have you been to an ecstatic dance?
No.
Okay.
No, but I feel like I do that alone in my house.
So forget like an organized class. Forget any of that. Forget mirrors up in the studio. Like forget all of that.
Okay.
Ecstatic dance is just basically moving your
Like
body to the music. And it's best when there are new mirrors and it's just people and like you get so high. You're just like moving your body through the experience. What I love about Five Rhythms is a practice that was started by this woman, Gabrielle Roth Esselin, in Big Sur. And
is it here in New York?
Oh yeah, it's global.
Oh my God, do they have one in Miami?
Probably. But there's an amazing one in New York on Monday nights, which literally sells out in under a minute every week.
How am I just hearing about this?
It's at this random Ukrainian hall on the Lower East Side. And there's like a religious following to go to this. And so basically they break it down into 5. She broke all of life's rhythms down into 5 rhythms. And it basically follows a wave, how it's like flowing into shore. And then as it starts getting closer, you come to staccato and things start getting really choppy. So like think about this as a metaphor for life. You're flowing in life, but you keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing. And it starts to get like a little bit tight and choppy and staccato. And then the wave breaks. It finally like that pushes things to a pimple and it like pops.
Yeah.
And that's chaos. And you can break down into chaos and just let it all out. And we all need that. But then the wave going through all it's been through and taking that wisdom forward regains composure and finds a lyrical way into then stillness. And so you dance a wave twice, and that's a 5 Rhythms class. It feels really good.
Is it?
2 hours. Each wave is an hour. And then
this is going to be a priority the next time that I come to New York. I'm going to make sure that we do this.
And then if the teacher is amazing and Nico is insane.
Okay.
Like the talk in between, he'll explain to anyone who happens to be new.
Love.
Yeah. It was actually amazing. The last time I went was a couple weeks ago and he was just like, there's a lot of energy in the room tonight. He's a good teacher. And he was like, some of you have so much energy and you came in tonight and you just want to roar. And he's like, over this next wave, I want you guys to focus on pushing that energy out and letting the earth and the city receive that. And he's like, and then some of you, it always comes from me, my legs. I'm always like, yeah. And then some of you really feel like you came here today running low, depleted. He said, we really have a dichotomy in the room. And for those, I want you to imagine the energy just coming in through your feet and building yourself up and dance in those ways. He's like, because we all know how to dance. And this is a group that comes all the time. But it's very good. So I still dance.
Yeah. So that was your escape when you were little.
Yes. So dance was for my forever escape. And frankly, making things. I was always into, I would want to make cookies or I would want to make a cake. I've always loved working with my hands. And that is something that
so good.
I didn't get when I was going through college that was important to me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was almost done with my major. I finished it by like Christmas, my credits. I declared a leave of absence and went to culinary school. My mom actually pushed me. She was like, why don't you go to Italy and go to culinary school? She was like, why don't you go have a different experience? And I discovered how much I loved working with my hands. And I actually went back and finished a second undergraduate degree and then an MA in the history of art. But during that time, I was living in London and I started cooking so much. It came back into my life. I cooked every day.
How did it come back into your life?
London's a different city than New York.
Yeah.
I was living over there with my partner and I had a lot of friends from college. So cooking came back in slowly, but like religiously to the point where then when I finished my master's, I didn't accept a job in the art world. I decided to open up my own made-to-order bakery. And that was really fun. That was kind of my first business experience.
Is that what led you to start Kate Mcleod?
I wouldn't have started this had I not had such experience working with ingredients. I've come to realize, especially training people and hiring people, and in our workshop, we hire also a lot of pastry chefs. It's like any muscle. We were just talking earlier about owning your truth and sharing it with a person. And the more times you flex that muscle, the more comfortable you're going to be in flexing it. Same deal with making something. The more batters you mix, you just get really comfortable picking up materials and being like,
But I feel like to me, like that reads that you're someone who gives yourself a lot of permission. And that's a rare quality.
You.
It is, especially in women. It's rare. And I say the thing about having multiple lives because that's so cool to give yourself permission to reinvent over and over and begin again in different ways over and over. Does that resonate?
You know, I was actually reading over the prep document for this last night and then again this morning. And there was something you said on there where it was like, did you have enough confidence? Something to the extent of how did you have enough confidence to build a whole brand around it?
Yeah.
And it's funny, two different thoughts came to my brain. There was a piece of me that wanted to be like, I didn't.
Yeah.
and but then I was like, oh no, but actually I'm so grateful. There was a larger piece of me that was, sometimes you just got to be your own cheerleader.
You have to be your own cheerleader.
And you're like, I think this is pretty great. This has really changed my life. So how Kate Mcleod and how the Body Stone came about is my sister-in-law saw me putting on lotion one day. And my sister-in-law was truly the person who started me on my spiritual journey. And she was the first person who really saw me.
Again, on the legs.
And she asked me, she ripped the lotion out of my hands and she was just threw it out. And then she went into her cupboard and she came back with a few pieces of cocoa butter. And she looked me dead in the eye. She pushed me into her bathroom. I still remember it. And she was like, you really need to spend some time with yourself.
What made her say that?
No idea.
How were you presenting?
Because I think she saw I was lost. How disconnected I was from myself.
Okay.
And so through a very simple practice of so I ended up putting on the cocoa butter, which if you're putting on raw cocoa butter, takes forever to melt into your body. Oh, also it was a long process.
Yeah.
But my skin the next day, I couldn't believe it. I was putting on lotion because I had been a little over sun exposed, all redness, irritation, scales, everything was gone. So I was like, there must be an easier way to work with this. And I'm very well versed in working with chocolate from my culinary days. And I'm like, well, this is cocoa butter. Let me see if I can actually work with this through a food lens. And it's taken me a long time to actually own the following fact, but I've now been formulating with butters and oils for over a decade. And I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
really.
that's hard for me to say.
No, I love it. Can you say it again, actually? Because if it's hard for you to say, I want you to say it again.
I'm very good at formulating.
Say it truly.
I'm very good at formulating.
You are very good because you've been in business for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you've grown it sustainably.
And I've really learned how these butters and oils work with one another. Just the different, there's been an intuitive process in this whole thing, but really through trial and error, you evolve. And so this started in my kitchen back then. I just started playing around. And what I ended up making was a mixture that was in a mason jar. And my husband and I would dig it out with a wooden spoon and rub it over our bodies after the shower. And what I realized, probably over 6 to 9 months of using this, is that if I put it on before I went to bed, or if I woke up and did it first thing, I had a much better day. A much better day. I wanted to get out of the apartment. The moment of connection with myself,
the slowing down,
made me want to go out and connect with others
What's your relationship to slowing down now? You live in New York, right?
I do.
So what is your relationship to slowing down?
Well, have you ever heard that saying, what is it? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's how I feel like we've built this business, my co-founder and myself. Um, I am our formulator. I am our founder. My co-founder, Nicola Gray, amazing woman, is our CEO. I could not have done this alone. No way. I'm just thinking about my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we actually move quite fast. And we're very blessed. We have like extremely abundant life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking things, I'm talking friends and experiences and opportunities. And we live in this city. It's such a rich experience. But if you can find moments of slowness every day to re-anchor with yourself, even for me, like I have 2 young kids, but getting that hour of maybe daily movement after their drop off and before I check in on other things is essential.
Yeah.
It's essential.
I mean, I feel like your whole brand is also the process of putting the lotion on is a slow process. Putting it on your body is something that you're taking a moment to connect with yourself.
You are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slow and wow, I really love the slow is smooth and smooth is fast because it's slow, smooth, and fast. It's actually way less messy to use than like a lotion that's going to get all like goopy in your nails or in your rings or in between your fingers. Yeah. But you're right. There is like there's something about holding it in your hand, which is why when I started sharing it with friends and family, I started making them like in my old silicone pastry molds. I was sharing them with yoga clients. I taught yoga for a while.
I know. I want this podcast to be 3 hours because I have so many questions of all your lives.
You taught yoga too, didn't you?
I do. I currently.
Oh, you currently do. Love that.
Yeah. Which I feel like is clear. To me, it's so clear when there are people that are building businesses that are rooted in yoga. I don't know. Can't you just like, taste it from a mile away?
You can see it.
Yeah.
You can spot it.
Yeah. But yeah, there is something to like the stone of it all, of it being a moment to slow down with yourself.
It is. I was sharing it with yoga clients. And then when I was going to go bigger, I was like, it has to stay solid. It has to stay. And I love stones. I find them extremely grounding. They're all over my home. I like to hold them in my hands. So there was something so critical to me about keeping it in solid form that you would have to then... It's just different. Even though when you're swiping on oil or lotion, you're still touching yourself.
Yeah.
There's something different about working this into your body. And it's a coming home to yourself. I like to walk through Sephora, and I know some brands take you to Brazil and some brands take you to Japan and some conjuring Italy. And I was asked, where do you want to take people? I want to take them home to them.
I could not love that more. It's also so fascinating to me. I can count in one hand how many brands I feel like genuinely have built in this way and stayed so true to original intent and are still playing at the level that you're playing. It's not mom and pop. You're in a lot of stores. You're in Sephora. And to keep that level of integrity, those are the conversations that I want to be having on this podcast are who are the founders that are genuinely creating and staying true in that way? And what advice would you give to people like that? Because you're playing in a space that is so, so loud. There are so many brands. You're competing with media that wants new products all the time. So
I hate that.
I know. I believe, especially with the rise of AI, that whether you have the language for it or not, we're going to be craving more and more humanity. And there's a resonance in certain products, and there's a resonance in certain founders, and there's a certain resonance that, again, whether or not you have the spiritual lingo for it, our systems are going to gravitate towards those things. And so for someone listening that's maybe in an early on phase of building their business, or maybe they've already had their business and feel that the things that worked before are no longer working.
Yeah.
How have you been able to maintain this level of growth while remaining so in integrity?
I have 2 answers.
Okay.
And one is the team and my co-founder. What is so amazing about Kate Mcleod now is I can actually say the brand name and no longer feel like I'm talking about myself. Much bigger than me. And One of the pillars of our culture is we're not afraid to have honest conversations.
Love that.
My honest answer to that, think if you're putting something out there into the world and it has changed your life and you're like, wow, I'm sure some people are going to think this is terrible, but I think that this could actually really help some other people. And if you're coming from that place, I think when you attract a team together, you inspire that in them and they believe. But I think if we're going at this from advice of giving someone who's just getting started what to tell them, and it goes back to being your own cheerleader, slightly different, but you've gotta love it. You've gotta totally believe in it. Did I have doubts? Yes, those are there, but like the bigger piece of you, believe in it.
Yeah. How do you navigate with the belief? And you started with the body stone. How do you navigate the space that you're in, which in most beauty environments, it demands a lot of new product drops, new collabs, new partnerships, like all this newness. And you're operating, it feels like, at a pace that is coherent, at a pace that doesn't feel like you're just shelling out new product for the sake of newness and for buzz.
We're not.
Correct. Like it's felt like
we're
you can
not.
tell.
We do have newness throughout the year.
Yeah.
All of our limited editions, which myself and an amazing member of my workshop work together now to formulate and blend, but we do all of our essential oil blending in-house. They all speak to the seasons. They're all Ayurvedically tied. And so it's not just newness for newness sake. And it's not just newness for newness sake. And I feel like our customer really enjoys that seasonal pop and transition throughout the year. But your question, how
do people not fall into that trap of feeling like they need to do the most?
I think you just gotta say we don't.
Right.
Because I get it. It's so easy to fall into that trap. But I think for my co-founder and myself, when we started this, we were she was about to get pregnant. I got pregnant basically 7-8 months later. We've built families while we've been building this business, and children are going to slow things down, not in the business sense, but when a baby comes into your life, it's just a slower moment. And when we first met, we started talking about motherhood and if we wanted to have children, and we both very much did. And we both wanted to build a business that we could hold while mothering. And so that was, I think, just a non-negotiable. It's just a non-negotiable.
Yeah. When Colby sent me the information on the business side of things, I found it to be so interesting. It's self-funded, right?
Yes.
So I feel like that also, first of all, congratulations. That is insane to me. Yep. It's also very, very rare. Insane in the sense that at the level that you're playing, that you're able to continue to do that. But I think that is why you're able to go at the pace that you are at, because you don't have anybody telling you what to do at what pace to do it.
I don't.
Exactly.
I don't.
So I think that there's something really, really magical in that.
At least for right now, I think that's why we've been able to maintain, yes, that is a large part why we've been able to maintain the integrity of the mission and just everything.
Do you think that to maintain integrity, you must accept that you will go slower?
No, I'm hesitant to ever say yes to a must or but slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I keep going back to that. I watched I heard that in that Brad Pitt movie, the Formula One movie, and I was I watched it on a plane. But I was I love that.
Yeah.
And so,
but can you say it again?
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
That's so good.
It really is, right?
Yes.
And you can apply it to everything. It's business, it's personal life. The other thing I was going to say, the advice that if someone always asks me what advice would you give to someone? Again, it applies to personal life or business as long as you keep showing up.
How do you show up? Because you've been around for how many years at this point?
Officially, I think I should know this off the top of my head, but I think it's 8.5.
Okay.
unofficially, I've been making the body stone for almost 11 years now.
Okay. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that something, especially now that it's been easier for people to start businesses, something that people don't talk about is that it is actually easier to launch. It is harder to keep going. And there are many times in the journey where I'm sure you're questioning yourself, as most people are at certain junctures, you know, and you're saying that the choice for the what is it? Slow is
smooth, and smooth is fast.
Yes. And how do you keep going on the times when the slowness makes you question, is this right anymore? You know, because like the launch, you get that buzz, you get that momentum, and then it's slow sometimes.
I have one, like, I'm actually gonna answer this a little bit from Nicola's perspective. I want to like honor what I think she'd say here, and I'm gonna give you mine.
Okay.
I think actually, let me do Nicola first. When we met, like, I just felt her drive and such conviction, and she has such drive and conviction, and it's like a freight force. So her force, undeniable. For me, I've been really lucky to witness a lot of startups. My husband is a very seasoned entrepreneur.
Yeah, I got to talk to him.
He's working on something new.
Okay, good.
And so, yeah, but my husband's a very seasoned entrepreneur. And when we first got back together in 2015 and I landed in New York in 2015, it was the days of Bombas was getting going, Bonobos was having its moment, Rent the Runway you saw those garment bags everywhere, remember? And we knew all these founders and tons more. We were very, very immersed in the founder, like the 2015, 2016, 17 entrepreneurial movement in New York City. And I think what I've realized is that so many things that people think are just, wow, that was undeniably going to be a success, were such struggles. And you really felt like this isn't going to work. That was the case with Hinge for years.
So then, like, what's the advice to keep going when that happens? Because again, the launch moment, you get the fundraising press piece and you get the da-da-da. People are down in the beginning. You get that momentum that keeps you going. But you've been around for 10 years doing this. What would you say, or what do you say to yourself when you're in moments of like...
I don't... Honestly, here's the thing. What gets me going, why I'm still doing that, it's not this like raw desire to turn this into a massive CPG company and like market things to people. It's not, it goes back again. This is my practice. I battled eating disorders and other things for years, nothing until I put my hands on my body. This brought me back to myself. I was on QVC selling this for 3.5, 4 years. And what was amazing is every once in a while you would read a review. And I'm stereotyping the QVC community right now, but it just like goes out and you don't expect that it had like a spiritual impact on them. But every once in a while you'd read a review that was like, this was more than a moisturizer. Like I've read ones where it was like, I gave this to my mom and she was glowing and she came alive. Or I've had women who've said like they've put it in the hands of a child who might have like fidgeting problems or and like it's calming and it gives them agency and they can connect with it. And so I don't know. The answer, this probably isn't a very fulfilling answer, but you have a choice every day. You can either keep going forward and really put passion out there. And as you said, the energy put out there, you're probably going to attract back in. And so you can either go at it that way or you can decide to stop. That choice just hasn't seemed very appealing to me.
I love that answer. And I feel like as we started this with me saying that you've had 1,000 lives, you have stopped other things before. What's the difference between what you feel with this and what you felt with closing the bakery, stopping doing other things, leaving Goldman Sachs? Like those are all juncture points that a lot of people stay stuck in for a while. And they're like, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I leave? Do I stay? The same could be happening when you have your own company. Do I keep going? Do I stop?
I actually, I have so many faults and so many areas where I can work on. But something that I actually am like quite good at is I know what I want. I'm very clear on that. I have a very clear inner compass of like, I want that. And I did not grow up in a household where my wants and needs were over glorified and over celebrated. And so I don't have the tendency, which I know a lot of people do, of like, oh, but I'm not even in touch with what I want. No, like I know what I want. And so I remember very clearly sitting on the trading floor once and looking around and like really looking for a female role model. And I couldn't find one. And I knew I was done. When this stumbled into my life, like this really fit. And this is also where it feels like all the other paths have like trickled into.
Is there an ease to this?
Yes.
I think that's something for people listening to keep an eye out for. When there's an ease to something. I think it's like a practice
when
to
it's
trust
flowing.
Yeah. But I do think that we've been sold a lot of like the blood, sweat, and tears. And like, it just has a different energetic because it's not that you're not working hard. You do work hard, but the energetic, the undercurrent of how you're working doesn't feel forceful. It feels easeful when it's right, I believe. And what I've seen and witnessed and other things and what I see and witness in myself and when it sounds like what you're feeling, it's like, it's not that it's not hard work. It's just easeful.
Yes. There's a part of me that's like, yes, and I'm like thinking of the journey over the past 10 years. And I'm like, did that feel easeful? Not all the time. But it felt so closely aligned to it's my inner truth. It's my inner truth. I'm so honored. When we first started selling in Sephora, I actually begged the Sephora corporate office. They finally agreed. I was allowed to be the brand rep for New York and New Jersey. They were like, you don't know what you're biting off. And I was like, I used to work in the mall. Like, let me go at this. And I've personally trained, I think, over 70 Sephora doors across the country in using the product. And I've spent so much time with customers. I love that. My co-founder knows if she can get me in person somewhere at like a fair or selling. The first 2 years that we started this, we actually didn't know how to run social media ads. I wish it was so simple, but we didn't know how to do it. And there was only 2 of us and we didn't have time. And so, we were moving slowly. And so what I did in the Christmases is I took a booth at the Columbus Circle holiday market and I stood out there every single day for 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and was selling and putting it on skin and talking to people and seeing what resonated, what didn't, and what it brought to them.
Invaluable. I feel like you get everything that you need from that.
And that I think was like, okay, I think we really have something here. And that came through me. And I'm honored and humbled to share.
I love that. Okay, I want to know your morning and evening practices before we close.
My morning and evening practices. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Okay.
So my morning, I'll really give you my morning. Have you ever heard of an 8 sleep?
The mattress?
Yeah.
They were a client of mine.
Oh,
yeah.
Love.
Obsessed.
I feel like we were very early adopters because we've had ours for years and years.
Time when I was working with them, it was just the mattress cover.
Mine's just the mattress cover. And a bunch of my friends have even told me I have a really old one because you can only set it. I can't actually do the temperature, like the actual degrees.
Oh, wow.
Mine's just like +1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
But I love this thing. And what's amazing is that I wake up now by a vibrational alarm for the past few years. So there is no alarm going off in the background. And so that's a nice way to start my day.
Does it only vibrate on your side?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wake up and then I've got my amazing little munchkins and we're normally doing breakfast, which is like toast with almond butter or yogurt or bananas or pancakes. And somehow in that like breakfast counter mess, I managed to get a pot on the stove with a 1.5 cups of bone broth. So what I do is I just melt down the bone broth and I put in 2 tablespoons of my favorite cacao, company called Fly Cacao with a K, Kakao.
Okay.
And I feel like at this point I must be one of their best customers because I've been buying this for
I'm gonna
probably
stock them.
6 years.
Okay.
And I buy a 5-pound bag of their signature blend. And I get the one from Peru, the cacao chincho. So I put that in, and then I put in half a date.
Okay.
And then I get an immersion blender and I blitz that all together.
Amazing.
And that is my morning
Your anchor.
power. I love it.
Obsessed.
And then we're out the door. We're doing either school or camp drop off. And then I move. And movement for me used to look like an over addiction to cardio. And today it looks like weightlifting 3 times a week and some reformer Pilates. And evening, really quick. I'm really big on structure. And so the kids definitely have a bedtime, though it's summer. We've been like pushing it. But like 8:30, everyone's asleep.
You too?
No.
Oh, I'm like,
No.
what?
So that you can have
Yeah.
an hour or two of like
Yeah.
adult time,
Yeah.
connection, talking. I'm really proud of us, and we more nights than not, we're all at the table eating dinner together, which I think in New York City is rare. We mostly eat at home. We make everything.
Yeah.
And I do get into bed early. I have a friend who was talking about her parents the other day, and she was like, they're BTS by 9:30, between the sheets by 9:30. And I'm like, I love that.
I love that too.
I love that. And so we'll get into bed probably around 9:30, 10, talk, and then like drift off.
Yeah. And are you like drinking anything? Like, is it like, do you have any rituals?
No, just water.
Okay.
I don't drink alcohol.
Is there no
or anything like that,
phones?
but like, we're getting better on
Yeah.
that. But what I will say for sleeping, I'll leave you with this. We sleep in like an ice cold room. We drop the temperature to like 65.
Delicious.
So nice, right?
Like, I'm like, it has to be
Have a
frigid.
really heavy weighted blanket.
Mm.
Have the 8 sleep, which mine's on like +2, so it's like a little bit warm.
Yeah.
And then for the past 2 months, I've actually been trying something. Do you take any peptides?
Mm-mm.
I didn't either. And then there's a nasal spray. I forget what it stands for. It's DSIP, DSIP.
Okay.
And I think it's like I forget what the D stands for. It's a sleep-inducing peptide.
Okay.
It doesn't actually make you fall asleep, but I take 1 spritz up each, so 2 in total up each nostril, and it affects your deep sleep and recovery. It is a dream.
I'm going to look into it.
1 little spritz. That's
Okay.
it. And I've got a girl here and she ships, so I can like.
Oh
put
my
you in
God.
touch with her.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Arrow Health, she's wonderful.
Is her name Lauren?
Hawkins.
Yeah.
I get my little D-sip from her and I take a spritz, and my recovery scores, my sleep scores, like through the roof since I've been taking this.
Love
I feel
this.
so much better. I feel like a new human.
Oh my God. Okay. I haven't taken any peptides, but I might give that one a go.
D-sip.
This has been,
This was really lovely.
oh, you're so great. Thank you. And thank you for doing it. I feel like we need more examples like you, people that are actually doing it and have done it and it's successful, because you can talk about it, but unless you actually know that something works, people won't try this on for size, building this way. So I'm grateful for expanders like that are like, no, you can do it and be successful.
I can be expansive because of the team I have.
Mhm.
And so I just want to give them like I have such a team. I have such a partner in my co-founder, and it's who you surround yourself. So thank you for noticing that. And I want to pass that compliment on to my entire team. And yeah, I think it's really beautiful today if you can come to the world with an expansive mindset.
Mm-hmm. And everybody get conscious loving. Gay Hendricks, I love you. I love you. I love
So
you.
good.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Was that okay?
No, that was incredible.
Okay, because I'm like, that went a very different direction.
I
than
know.
thought
That's
it was
typically how
gonna
it
go.
goes here.